Okay, so it is time for basically a practice run for this project because I don't want you to start with your nice watercolor paper just yet. I want you to practice this process on just some scrap paper. If you're gonna work from paper in your portfolio or in your sketchbook, I would definitely tear that paper out. You don't want to, I mean, we're using water, you don't want to soak through all of your pages, so you could just tear that page out and put it on your table. All right, again, I've set up my workspace, water, that's relatively clean, my watercolor paint, my variety of brushes, because I'm not sure which ones I'm going to use yet, and you're going to want to look at the directions that are also on this slide of the project direction. This isn't just paint whatever you feel like painting. There are certain steps that I want you to do. How you choose to interpret those steps and how you put them on the paper, well, that's up to you, and that's where your creativity can come through for this project. So the first step is to pick a color scheme. This is a practice run, but you eventually have 2 paintings that you're gonna do. Each painting should have a different color scheme. So if you want to practice one of them for this, that's completely fine. I think that's a good idea to see if you like it or not. You can do as many practice runs as you want. This doesn't have to be just a one-time deal. So the color scheme that you pick is going to guide you as to what colors you're mixing and putting on your paper. Let's say I pick a triadic color scheme. In the triadic color scheme I pick, the colors I'm going to use are blue, red, and yellow. That's a triadic color scheme. You made all of these color schemes here. You could pick one of these if you want. That's up to you. Or you can do one that you didn't practice here. So the triadic color scheme I'm going to use is blue, red, and yellow. So all of the colors that I paint on here are going to be blue, red, and yellow, or a later version of blue, red, and yellow. I can't pick green. I can't pick purple. I can't pick yellow, orange. It's got to be the colors that are in my color scheme. All right, so the first step after you pick your scheme is to fill about 1/3 of your page with a wash. This is a very large page. Your watercolor paper is probably about that size, so I'm gonna draw a box. You don't have to. It's whatever you want. So I know my colors are blue, yellow, and red. I'm just gonna pick red. And again, you do not have to do your practice the same as me. You could do it however you want to do it. You could pick different colors and you could put them different places. All right. So 1/3 of my space has been filled with a wash. I'm going to layer a bleed of 2 colors over this. So I can't pick any 2 colors. They've got to be the colors in my color scheme. So I already have red down. So maybe the 2 colors that I'm going to bleed are my blue and my yellow. My yellow, and I have my blue. There we go, they're bleeding together. I'm painting in a very kind of blobby, loose style. Maybe you want to do something more geometric. Maybe you want to do something more linear. I don't know, it's up to you. All right, drip of a tint. So I need a tint of a color that's in my color scheme. I'm gonna do, a tint of blue. So I need to add some water to it so it's more of a tint. And I'm gonna drip it. And I wanna run it into the middle, the directions say. So I kinda have to start at the edge. Again, this is crappy paper. Ooh man, hit my stand there. It's not gonna bleed super well or drip or anything like that, but we could try. So I'm dripping it into the middle. I don't know, maybe I want to add another one over here. Kind of have to add some water. Help it get into the middle. I don't know, I have 2 drips. Maybe I want to add more. Maybe you only have one. I don't know. All right. Add a bleed of 2 colors and run it to the edge of the paper. So I need another bleed. In my color scheme, I only have 3 colors to pick from. I already did a yellow and a blue. Maybe this time I want to do a red and a blue. I don't know. Red and a blue. And I'm gonna run it to the edge of the paper. So I want it to go off the edge of my paper here. All right, there we go. All right, at this point, I'm gonna wanna let this dry for a little bit, potentially. I've got a lot of stuff going on here. This is incredibly wet. My drips are pretty wet. So pretend that I let this dry, but I'm just gonna keep going for time's sake. So the next step is adding 3 or more lines. Well, that could be whatever kind of line you want. Maybe you want to switch up your brushes and do really skinny lines. Maybe, I mean, I've got this like very blobby organic kind of thing going here, so my lines are going to be very wavy to reflect that, but maybe you've got more of like a geometric thing happening. That's up to you. Where you decide to place your lines, also up to you. They could layer over stuff. They could be broken lines. You did a lot of work with texture already, like you can make a lot of lines. I don't know, that seems okay. And then you can add a splatter if you want to, if you're interested in adding a splatter. I feel like this is kind of empty over here, so I am gonna add a splatter. A little splatter over there. I'm also gonna add a little blue splatter in that area. And then the last step says add anything else you think it may need. Well, that's pretty ambiguous, but looking at it, you know, like, do you see maybe some empty spaces that you feel like you could add more line work to? Do you want to add another bleed somewhere? Do you want to add some more drips? Like, these are the basics, and this is just enough variety of techniques and telling you to place stuff different areas so you have a start. But what you choose to do after this, that is up to you. So, you can take this a whole lot of different ways. So I encourage you to look at the examples at the end of this presentation before you get any further, even before you start your actual paintings. Look at what people in the past have done. Look at where we're going with this project, like the finish options that you have. I want you to see big picture, like what this could be, because there's so many different ways you can do this. So look at some examples that I have, my examples, past student examples, and see what you could do with this, because it's super, super open-ended, even though I'm telling you a couple basic steps.